Hey everyone, welcome back to week 3 of the Seedsheet Facebook Live garden chat tutorials, whatever we want to call it here. We're going to be recapping what we've done in the past and gathering our progress, checking in, seeing how it's going. 3 weeks ago, 3 Thursdays ago, we planted our all 6 of our different products. That's grow your own herbs, grow your own salads, grow your own caprese, grow your own cocktails, hot sauce, and I think we planted some of our sunflower ones too. But what we're going to do is kind of check in, see how they're going, how they're growing, and do a little update as we go. For people that are just joining us for the first time, welcome. Welcome to Seedsheet. Our mission here is to be the blue apron of gardening, to use innovative materials and technology to make gardening really ridiculously easy. And the mission of these tutorials is to help you grow your own food and grow your gardening skills in the process. So what we're going to do is kind of walk through, recap my computer here so I can see us going live and answer questions. Awesome, here we are. And so what we're going to do is kind of walk through the progress that we've made and the sheets that we planted 3 weeks ago. The first of which is going to be our salad kit. This is it right here. I can tilt this over so you can see it in all of its delicious splendor. One thing that I do want to mention is that it's been cold here in our home state of Vermont, and we actually had snow yesterday, because why not snow in March? May 9th, not March 9th, May 9th, and it's snowing. Go figure. So what we have with this salad sheet is, you can see, Mom, if you want to come on in, we can come in nice and tight on the glorious salad seed sheet here. And you can see nice healthy germinations across the board. To kind of recap and walk through what we have here, here are your pea shoots, nice long spindly guys, and we're actually going to talk about how to harvest your first pea shoots right here. And then you have your tatsoi, arugula, your beet greens, your spinach, your frilly mustard greens, and then your radish. So one of the things that we're going to be discussing today is how to harvest your pea shoots. It's not going to be much, but you know, we just want to start the feasting process, as well as how to thin some of your plants that require a little bit more room. So that's going to be our radishes right here, and then over in this sheet, this is our caprese kit. So this has your 3 basil plants and then your tomato in the middle. As you can see, we've had good healthy germs in all of these, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tomato plants popping up in the middle. And that's one of the things that we make sure we do with all of our seed sheets, is include multiple seeds inside of each pouch. And that's just to make sure that you're going to have a good chance of success with something coming up. It's easier to pick off a couple extra ones than it is to not have anything and have to replant more seeds in there. So we're definitely excited to show you how to take care of your plants now that they're growing as well as they are. To recap what we did before we dig into it was how to actually plant your seed sheet. We're going to be actually discussing this bad boy here in a little bit, but just to recap really quickly, this is a cocktail garden. That's this one that's growing right here, all of your amazing and delicious cocktail herbs. Your seed sheet, for those joining us for the first time, has these dissolvable pouches which have organic, non-GMO seeds already inside of it, already buried under about a ½ inch of soil. Depending on the seed type, there's varying thicknesses of soil, so we're just replicating the process of poking your finger in the soil, making your hole, putting in the seed, and covering it again. So you don't have to do that anymore. And then the black fabric is a weed blocking fabric, so you don't have to worry about any weeds coming up and competing with your plants. So to recap really quickly, your sheet goes seed side down, directly on the surface of soil. We recommend that you fill up all of your containers, whether it's a terracotta pot, a 5-gallon bucket, or these fabric gardening containers that we sell on our website, to the surface with soil, or as close as you can get to the surface. Because more often than not, if you plant it halfway down, the sides of the container are going to block any light from coming in and allowing your plants to germinate. So make sure that you're filling it up as close to the surface as possible. Then once it's seed side down, you're going to water in about 10-second increments until your pouches start to dissolve After you water for 10 seconds with a misting nozzle of a hose, you wait. Wait for about 30 seconds, water again for 10, wait for 30, and repeat that process until you see the films completely dissolve. And then the soil that's inside of these becomes noticeably moist. For seeds to really start growing, they need to be in constant contact with moist soil for about a couple of weeks. What we're going to do here real quick now is look in and check in on the progress of all of our other seed sheets. We're starting to have some people email us and say, my plants haven't sprouted yet. Are they duds? They're not duds. Just wait on it and make sure that you're keeping that soil moist for the first couple of weeks. So we have our salad kit right here, our caprese kit right here, and you can see that, especially with the basil, they're pretty small. So we'll pull out what else we have here that we planted at the same time. This is our taco garden. So same thing here, we have a bunch of radishes in the taco garden, and you're going to want to thin those down to 2 to 3 of these plants just to give room for those actual roots to develop. So those are looking nice and good. We'll pull out, here's a slower one. This is our hot sauce kit. So this one has your carrots, it has your purple bunching onions, and it has your Ring of Fire cayenne peppers. All of this was planted 3 weeks ago. It's been really cold here in Vermont, so it's been a slower process than it normally is, but we're starting to have germinations in all of them. Keep your seeds and soil moist until you have full germinations. Here's our cocktail garden. This is probably one of our favorite ones just because it has really cool varieties of plants that you might not otherwise have seen before, and we still have one that hasn't germinated. That's fine. We're just making sure that we're keeping that soil moist to allow those plants time to grow. But this one's a fun one too. You have this kind of pea shoots, your purple basil, your Thai basil, your borage, your tulsi, your lemon balm, your fennel, and this guy here, well, if we arrange it the right way, this will turn into so that's really exciting. Take your time, keep them wet because they will eventually start to grow. Then the last one we'll pull out here is everyone's favorite. This is the herbs kit. So we had just these basil pop up the other day, so it's definitely a slower germinating plant than something like your salad garden, which if you compare this one to your salad kit here, there's a major difference in how they're growing and the quickness of speed that they germinate and then start to develop their true leaves. What's a true leaf? Good question. If you look over here at the spinach, you've all eaten spinach before. Spinach has these nice, long, slender leaves coming up, but that's not actually the part that you eat. You can see inside, there's the leaves that actually look like spinach. Those are what's called your true leaves. Once your plants start to develop the true leaves, that's around the time that you can start to thin out as necessary. The salad kit, we're not really going to be worrying about thinning, except for the radish. We're going to thin that down to 3 plants. Sometimes if you wanted to develop the beets, here are your beet greens right here. You can see because they have those red stems, those beet colored stems. If you were going to actually want to develop the beet root, the actual meat of the beet, you could thin that down to just 1, and then you'd be able to develop that beet root. But in this case, we really love just the sweet beet greens that you can get from just cutting off the tops of those greens once they develop and grow a little bit larger, and they are just absolutely delicious. Yeah, Kari, Areta, your herb sprouts are so much smaller, but don't worry, they'll get there. Just keep them moist, keep them in the sun, as much sun as possible, and they'll be looking like our little babies here soon enough. Soon enough. Okay, so to recap really quick what the goals of this one, today's Facebook Live segment is going to be, is to talk about thinning, talk about what kind of potting soil to use, because one of the questions that we're kind of frequently getting is my plants are germinating, what's wrong, and as soon as that we receive a photo, we can tell pretty quickly and make suggestions as to what to change. And something that we've seen a little bit of over the past week has been wood mulch instead of like a potting soil that people are planting on top of. So if you are going to plant it directly outside into your lawn, or if you're going to plant it into a container or pot that you already have, we really recommend, especially for the seedlings, to be planted on top of a potting soil. That just retains the moisture so much better than like your wood bark would be, which those larger branches, the water will drip right off it. It doesn't retain it as well. So especially for the early stage germination and sprouting of your plants, we really recommend a potting mix. Second thing we've seen a little bit is comments coming in of my plants germinated great, but then they fell over and died. And so that is a light issue. And what we really recommend is planting them outside if you have the ability to do that, or if you are planting it inside, a good south-facing window, large size, that gets about 8 hours of direct sunlight a day. And that's really what's going to help those plants have enough sunlight so that they can photosynthesize, grow big and strong, and not get tall and spindly chasing the light and then ultimately fall over. Darlene Steers just planted her herbs last week. Can't wait. You're about a couple weeks behind what that one looks like there, so you'll be chasing us here very soon. Okay, so now we're going to discuss thinning. And in all of your Grow Your Own seed sheet that you receive, there's a brochure inside of it that tells you what you're growing, how to harvest it, how to thin it, and when to fertilize it if necessary. And so these instructions are already there, but it's nice to have a little visual reminder. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the herbs one away, and today we're going to focus on our caprese and our salad kit. Again, on every package on the back, you can see your diagram map. So you can see what's being planted where, and that will help you as you decide to thin and follow the directions inside of the brochures. So what's really important whenever you're thinning is to start by watering your sheet. That's just going to provide a little bit more nutrients to the roots and prevent them from getting dried out as you're yanking them out of there. But we're not going to yank. So we're just going to gradually water here. Try not to spill water on Molly. She's filming.
How kind.
And while we're at it, we'll water our salad one here too. Again, this is the same way that we would water even if we weren't thinning it, just to provide some nutrients to the plants. Nice and gradual, doesn't take that long. Actually, Molly, if you kind of zoom in here, what you can see is the water that's beating up on top of this fabric, and if you watch in one spot closely, you can see that it's actually getting sucked in through the fabric. It's actually dripping right through. That's a pretty key element of this fabric that we can talk about real quick, is that it's not like a plastic that prevents the water from dripping through, and so it's only coming through where your seeds are. And while that's helpful for when your plants are starting to germinate, but once they actually grow and develop root structures, the roots go out. They're not just directly down from where the hole is. So having the fabric that lets the water grow through it means that the water is going to where the plant's roots are. So that's a nice benefit of the fabric that we source. Okay, so now that our fabric is saturated, our soil is saturated, we are now going to go about thinning our glacier tomatoes. That's in the middle. So with glacier tomatoes, you're going to want, and with thinning, you're going to want to look for one that is a healthy plant, but also one that is kind of isolated from the others. Because if you just try to grab the biggest one here in the middle, there's a likelihood that we might grab another plant that has roots that are entangling it, and it might just cause more of a trouble than not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to isolate this guy that's growing here by himself. Hey dude, how's it going? And so we're going to pull out all of these other ones instead. And how I'm going to do that, just taking my little pinchers, I'm going to pinch down on the plant and just pull gently up. So you can see there's not much to that root structure right there. If I put it down on the fabric, you can see there's not much that goes into it right now. So you're not going to really tear apart that much of the roots that are down there and impact how our one that we're actually keeping is growing. So we're just going to pull these out nice and gently until there's only one remaining. And now we have, it might look lonely, but that's a nice happy plant. And now it's going to have a higher likelihood of success and growing tall because it's not going to be competing with its competitors. So then we're going to flip over here to the salad kit. And you can see all of our different plants here. Our pea shoots are going to, once they get a little bit bigger, they're going to run down the side. Our beet greens are tipping over a little bit with the water. That's fine. So once they get back under light and dry out again, they'll pop back up again. And so what we're going to do is with our radishes right here, right?
Mm-hmm. You got them.
With our radishes right here, separating these out a little bit so we can get to them. We're going to thin this little mess down to just 3. Just because we know that radishes are really fast growing, and if we don't thin that down, they're going to outcrowd each other and we're not going to develop any of the actual fruit. So we're going to do the same thing here. That's actually a really nice healthy one. So we're going to try to pick and pull some of the extra ones out. There's that guy. Looking nice and healthy, but it's in the way, so we don't like it. You're gone. Pulling them out. We'll just leave 3 in here. So there we go. 3 is going to result in, 3 relatively small ones. If you want a larger one, you can go with 2. If you want one larger, big one, you could just thin to 1. But thinning to 2 to 3 is definitely enough where you will have, a nice healthy abundance of some radish. You can slice it up nice and thin, put it into your salads, and it's absolutely delicious.
We got one question here. Kari again. Can you replant what you thinned? That's an awesome question.
Totally. Especially for a plant like radish, right? Radishes are super cool. They're ready for harvest in, just about like 30 days, between 20 to 30 days. So what you're going to see is you pull it out. It's a one and done. It's like a carrot. They don't keep growing. So you're going to be able to replant back in there by just taking a seed that, the same variety of seeds that you have. We're not selling replacement pouches yet. Hopefully we'll get to that point sometime, but you can definitely replant back into there. We would just recommend, adding a little fertilizer to that area before doing so, just to replenish the soil.
Yeah, or maybe she meant replanting the seedlings that you pulled out.
Oh, well that would work too.
Carrie, awesome. Yeah. So replanting what you thin. So when you thin the tomato seedlings, you definitely can replant those. Those will take in another area of moist soil where they have more space to grow, maybe in another container in your garden bed. But with the radishes, those actually won't replant as well, but you can eat them. So there's the plus there. Tomato seedlings are not edible, so don't try to eat those. Yeah, there you go. You can eat those radish seedlings or put them on your salad.
Recommend washing the dirt off them first. That was a little gritty. But still good.
Organic,
non-GMO, just gritty. Next thing, since we're already on the topic of eating, we got our salad shoots. So we're going to do the first real official harvest of these Seedsheet Facebook Live tutorials. With a lot of the plants, I have to chew off the rest of that radish there. With a lot of the plants that we're going to be discussing how to harvest, there's a common thread that emerges with our basil, with our pea shoots, and that is how to harvest them in a way that it allows it to keep on growing. And more often than not, that is harvesting the main stem right above a joint, or where the plant starts to shoot off 2 new arms. And if you harvest that main stem right above where the joint is, then the plant will continue to grow as you get to eat. So the more you eat, the more plants grow. It's a good deal. So what we're going to do with our pea shoots here here's a joint. Here's a little elbow. These aren't very big yet. You're not going to get that much food out of it, but that's just a fun way to start harvesting. We're just going to take our little pinchers again and pinch the main stem right above the joint and pull it off. Now, not much, but you can throw that onto your little salad if you want, or just munch away, and it's really good. It tastes like peas, even though it's just the leaves of the peas. So now, looking back over to our cocktail garden here. So this is a different kind of pea shoots, and if we pull out the one that we planted at the same time as our other salad, is that these are both peas. And they both have slightly different sizes, and that's based off the type of plant that it is. And what we've done is that we sourced this type of pea plant with our salad kit because it's really fast growing, so you can eat it at the same time as you're eating your other greens. And we sourced this type of pea shoot for our cocktail kit because this type of pea shoot is actually really delicious in cocktails. And the main reason that I pulled that out is that even though we're talking pea shoots and the ability to harvest them, you know what happens when pea shoots keep growing? They turn into peas. So as an added benefit, once your plants get a little bigger, you gotta eat. And the best part is, this Jurassic Park looking Jumanji backdrop here is actually in our office, so this is counting as my lunch right now. So that's awesome. What we're gonna start to do here in the next Seedsheet Facebook Live tutorials that we do is try to facilitate that connection a little bit more between what you're gardening and what you're growing and what you are actually eating. And because we live planted these with you here a couple weeks ago now, they're going to get towards their harvestable states, and we're going to show you, how to harvest them so that they keep growing, and how to thin them, how to fertilize them, but then also how to eat them, because that's why we're doing this in the first place. It's to take control of your food and to know where it's coming from. So as we develop this a little bit more, get some more people involved, we're going to start taking recipe suggestions. We're going to start, actually consuming more of the plants that we are growing and then turning them and incorporating them to really delicious and beautiful meals. So definitely stay tuned for that, and that's going to be really fun. Next week, we're going to be actually making a salad. Sounds like, there's still a lot of room to grow between now and next week, but we're going to dig into it and we're going to make a salad. And we'll check in and see how our herbs are doing. We'll probably have to thin those back by next week. We'll check in to see how our, all of the other plants are going, how our taco kit's doing. We can thin those radishes down. How our hot sauce is doing. We'll probably be able to thin down those peppers as well. But just provide you with a nice real-time opportunity to see how we're growing. One of the things that we wanted to touch on real quick and give a little social media shout out is we really love seeing how your gardens are growing, and if you have any questions, feel free to shoot us a picture. If you tag us with #Seedsheet, then we will see how you're doing and give you a little social media love. So this one comes from Tantrum22, who says, our first sprouts in our container gardens on our patio. Seed sheets are awesome. So thank you, Tantrum22, and really love the bags that you're using, and wish you happy green thumb success as you continue to grow. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, send any photos, and we'll be able to answer them. That's really the best way to get the best response. And all of these Facebook Live videos will then be uploaded to our website as well, so you'll be able to reference at any point in time and see how to grow at week 1 versus week 3, etc., and spread any social media love, #Seedsheet, and we'll see you next week, 12:30, Thursday. Cheerio.